Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Yuta and I have a coffee shop in Japan. Today I will show you how to brew coffee with V60. And before we dive into the technique, I want to quickly preface that with my simple coffee brewing principle, which is to extract more and extract more evenly. Everything I do here is basically to bring the most out of the good coffee that I use. And I will explain what is extraction and why it's so important to brew more evenly. Extraction is the process of pulling the flavor out of the coffee. During the brewing, the water will dissolve the soluble compounds from the coffee beans, which is acidity and sweet aromatic compounds and bitterness. When you under extract coffee, it's gonna taste sour, salty, overwhelmingly thick, and it's missing in sweetness and complexity because the water didn't do a very good job of extracting the good stuff from the coffee beans. On the other hand, when you over extract coffee, it's gonna taste bitter and astringent, and those bitter and astringent flavor will mask the sweetness. It's gonna kind of taste flat and not really good. So the ideal coffee brewing is to extract every bit of coffee grounds evenly so that not some part of the coffee bed will be under extracted and some other parts are over extracted. But in reality, it's impossible to extract every bit of coffee perfectly evenly because we cannot grind coffee completely uniformly and we cannot expose the coffee grounds to water at the exact same time. So good brewing technique will minimize this unevenness in extraction and getting the coffee as close to the ideal world of complete even extraction. So that's my coffee brewing principles. Now let's dive into the technique of coffee brewing. So first, obviously you need freshly roasted, very good coffee. So perfect technique with bad coffee will give you perfectly bad coffee. Perfect technique with a good coffee will give you perfectly good coffee. So invest in local independent coffee roasters to get a nice good coffee. Maybe I will do a guide to how to find quality coffee beans in your neighborhood or from online. And obviously a fresh filtered water and V60 dripper for today, and paper filter, some kind of server, some kind of cup, and some kind of grinder. Grinders, I choose the grinder that grinds as uniformly as possible, but today I will just leave at that. First, you want to fold the paper where there is a lining of glues. Is it glue or sheet attached? But anyways, it doesn't look very uniform here. When you fold it here, when you open the paper, it sits very nicely to the dripper. So you do that and rinse the filter with hot water. This will eliminate any possible paper flavor and also preheats the coffee server and dripper. So you can brew coffee at the high temperature. Higher temperature will lead to more extraction. But by bringing the temperature higher, it doesn't really impact the evenness of extraction. So I typically try to use as high a temperature as possible. Whereas coffee grinding, finer coffee grounds will expose more surface area to the water, so it will bring up the extraction to a point when the coffee ground is too fine, and it will create some resistance to the water flow. Then the water will bypass the coffee grounds that's too fine, which is a bad news for our principle of even extraction. So experiment with the grind setting. I try to use as fine coffee ground setting as possible until it start to make the coffee too fine, and you'll start to see the bypass of the water to the coffee bed. Now let's grind. I like to use, for most filter coffee, 60 grams of coffee per a liter of hot water. Today I'm using 15 grams of coffee. So that will make 15 grams of coffee to 250 grams of water kind of ratio. Coffee in. This is a needle distributor. For espresso preparation, it's a must, but for manual brewing, it's kind of optional. I have it already, so why not? I'm gonna use it. What it does is to distribute the coffee grounds evenly across the bed of coffee, and if there is a big chunk of bold in there, it will break it down. But for the filter coffee grind settings, you wouldn't really make lots of bold. Unlike espresso grinds, it's very fine. It's lots of it creates the statics when the coffee grind is too fine. So filter coffee, we don't grind it that fine, so and that's why it's optional. For V60, I like to pour in 5 times with equal parts. So I divide 250 by 5. So each pour is 50 grams. So first pour, I try to make all the coffee wet at the same time. So it's not really possible. So I try to make it as close to same time. Water in, and I swirl, just so that I make sure all the coffee grounds are wet at this point. And from here, I degas for about 40 seconds, 30 seconds. And if I didn't swirl and some part of the coffee was accidentally left dry, there's already 30 to 40 second difference of water to coffee contact time. So again, bad news for even extraction. Now it's 40 seconds, another 50. I try to hit every bit of coffee as evenly possible, and don't be afraid to go pour to the edge and wash off the grounds of the wall, so that all the coffee grounds will participate in extraction. Another pour. in total, I try to hit 3 minutes, more or less, plus minus maybe 30 seconds for entire process. When it's way longer than that, I think the coffee might be clogging or you're grinding too fine. If you see that the coffee is clogging, you can agitate the coffee less, so be easier on the swirling, or maybe instead of pouring 5 times, you can do in 2 times, 3 times. That will actually make less agitation in the coffee bed and less likely to have clogging. Also, clogging happens when the coffee blades are dull and creating lots of the fines. So generally, if you're using higher quality grinder, less channeling can happen. Less channeling can happen. Let's see. Yeah, coffee's good. It might look like I did a lot, but know that it's just all about even extraction and higher extraction that I'm aiming. I hope it was of help. Thank you for watching. If you want more of that, click here, which will take you to my latest upload. All right, thank you for watching and see you on the next one.